My name is Sarah. The night I caught my stepson red-handed, doing something that crossed every boundary in my marriage. And no, this wasn't some harmless mistake or childish rebellion. This was betrayal. The kind that ruins homes. I always start my stories from the beginning, but this one starts with a feeling, not a loud noise, not a scream, just a feeling, that strange, cold punch right in the center of your stomach that tells you something is not right. It was a Saturday night, late, maybe close to midnight. My husband Mark was working an overnight shift at the hospital, and me, I couldn't sleep. I tossed, turned, paced the hallway, pretending I wasn't waiting for a reason. I kept telling myself I was paranoid, that I was being dramatic, that maybe it was just the wind or the old pipes, or maybe the quiet was just too quiet. But when you love someone, when you love a family, your instincts never lie. And mine were screaming. My stepson, Ethan, was 19. Not a kid, but not exactly an adult in the real sense either. He'd been distant for weeks, avoiding eye contact, talking less, staying out more. And whenever he walked past me, he hid his phone like he was guarding state secrets. I just assumed it was normal teenage stuff. Girls, friends, late, night gaming, but some nights. He watched me in a way that made my spine tighten. Like he was guilty, or hiding something, or maybe both. I kept brushing it off. I wanted to believe everything was fine. I wanted to believe we were a normal blended family with normal problems. But the truth was waiting for me, just one floor below. Around 12:17 a.m., I heard something, not loud, not obvious, just footsteps. Slow, careful footsteps, on the lower floor near the living room, and then a whisper, a low, soft whisper that sounded nothing like Ethan's voice. Or anyone who should have been in my house. My heart went still. I grabbed my phone, turned on the screen for light, and walked down the stairs slower than I ever have in my life. There was a glow coming from the hallway, just a sliver of it, likely from someone's phone. And then I heard it, a giggle, a woman's giggle, in my living room. My stomach dropped so hard I swore I could hear it hit the floor. My first thought wasn't even that Ethan brought a girl home without telling me. No, my first thought was, why does that voice sound familiar? I stepped closer. My heart hammered so loudly I feared they'd hear it. When I reached the corner and peeked around it, I saw two shadows on the wall. Ethan and someone else, sitting way too close on my couch. I couldn't see faces yet, but then the girl reached for him, the way she touched him, slow, intimate, careful like she'd done it 1,000 times, froze my blood. And then Ethan whispered something back, something I'll never forget. She doesn't suspect anything, not at all. My chest tightened, my breath caught. I stepped forward, my voice breaking out of me before I could stop it. Ethan, he jerked back like he'd been electrocuted. The girl beside him froze, and I swear the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees the moment she turned her head toward me. It was her, a woman I trusted, a woman I welcomed into my home, a woman I had invited for dinner 3 times that month alone. My husband's co-worker Emily, 32, married with a job at the same hospital as my husband. She had smiled at me, hugged me, complimented my house like we were friends. And now she was sitting on my couch with my stepson like they were lovers hiding in the dark. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't even move. I just stared at her while my stepson scrambled to explain. Sarah, wait, it's not what you think. Oh, really? I said, forcing my voice to stay steady, because it looks exactly like what I think. Emily stood up, pulling down the hem of her shirt like that would somehow make this less disgusting. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. Don't, not one word. I looked at Ethan, this child I helped raise for 6 years, this boy whose school lunches I packed, whose grades I encouraged, whose nightmares I soothed. And now he stood there, trembling, refusing to meet my eyes. I trusted you. I whispered, both of you. Silence. I pulled out my phone and snapped a picture, not to post, not to send, but because I knew exactly how this would go. Denial, lies, excuses, tears, and I needed truth. Get out, I said, my voice so calm it scared even me. Emily grabbed her purse, eyes wide with humiliation. Ethan followed her, begging, pleading, saying he messed up, saying he wasn't thinking straight. But I wasn't listening, not anymore. When the door slammed shut behind them, I collapsed onto the couch. The same couch they'd been sitting on. The same couch where my whole life had just changed. My hands shook as I dialed my husband, even though I knew it was a terrible time. But this wasn't a minor issue. This wasn't something to talk about later. This was betrayal by his coworker and his son. Mark answered groggily, clearly between rounds at work. Hey baby, everything okay? No, not even close. I told him everything, every detail, every word I'd overheard. He didn't speak for a full 10 seconds, and when he finally did, his voice cracked. Please tell me you're lying. I wish I was. The rest of that night is a blur. Mark came home early, devastated in a way I hadn't seen before, not angry, broken, because this wasn't just a moral mistake. This woman was married, she was his colleague, and she had crossed a line that destroyed more than one household. But Ethan, he didn't come home. He stayed out until the next afternoon, then walked into the house with red eyes, shaky hands, and a guilt that was too heavy for his age. He confessed everything, how long it had been going on, how it started, how he knew it was wrong but didn't know how to stop. Mark didn't yell. Instead, he cried. Hearing a man cry like that, the father of the boy who ruined the trust in our home, that's a sound I will never forget. Ethan apologized to me 100 times, but apologies don't erase scars. They don't rebuild trust. They don't heal overnight. And as for Emily, her marriage fell apart within weeks. She lost her job, and Mark demanded she never contact our family again. Our home has been different since that night. Quiet, heavy, a little colder, but the truth, sometimes a house has to break before you see what it was really made of, and the pieces you choose to pick up after, those tell the real story of who you are. Me and Mark, we are still here, still trying, still building, but Ethan, he's living with his mother now, part choice, part consequence, and that night didn't just change our lives, it exposed them. Because betrayal doesn't always come from spouses. Sometimes it comes from the ones you raise, with the hands you taught to trust you, and when those hands betray you, it's a kind of pain you never forget.